And to discuss with me, I have an eminent indigene of Ibadan land and close political associate and political son of Oba Ladoja in the Accord Party days, though currently an APC chieftain. He also served in the Ladoja administration in Oyo State as special advisor on labor matters. He served as lawmaker representing Egbeda State constituency in the Oyo State House of Assembly, and is also a former chairman, Oyo State Council of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC. My guest is Honorable Ibrahim Bolomokwe. Welcome to Satellite, sir.
Good afternoon. And I thank God that today all of us are witnessed and expecting tomorrow, and the reign of Baladoja will be successful, inshallah.
Amen. Satellite is our regular Thursday afternoon current affairs discussion program on Oluyole 98.5 FM, where we discuss topical issues affecting our dear country, our nation, and our world. My name is Tola Teriba, your anchor on the program. Right, so we go straight to business, Honorable Bolomokwe, and let's start with this. How did you meet Oba Rashidi Ladoja, and what was the first impression?
Our first meeting point? I thank God that I met him at the time when we are in the mood of struggling for the survival of workers of Oyo State.
Okay.
I met him when I was already the chairman of Nigeria Labour Congress. And as at that time, if you remember, we were just transiting from the military. And Labour then, we had a vision that we must emancipate workers of Oyo State from the clutches of the oppressors. So during that struggle, the first thing I saw that I wanted to do made October 1, I remember, just send a letter of congratulatory message to us as NSC. I've heard a lot about him before, and you know, those of us in the labor movement, when you know that somebody is in the class that he belonged to, the class, we call them the bourgeoisie, those who already have access to wealth. So when I got that invitation, we called a meeting of ESCO, and we discussed it, and we replied him, and we said we appreciate for writing us. So that was the beginning. Then the last time we met him was when we now met him for proper political alignment was when he wanted to contest as the governor of Oyo State. You know, as at that time, we had problem with the then government, labor movement. And at the national level of NLC, we agree also that Labour must form its own party. And that led to the formation of Party for Social Democracy. Okay. And with Adam Oshomale as the president of the Nigeria Labour Congress. Here in Oyo State, we made Lamidi Apapa as the chairman of the party in the state, because as a teacher, you cannot go into active politics then. So because he was from the private sector. So we now formed Party for Democracy to wrestle power from the government then. It was what that was going on. Then we now discover that the strength of workers in the states might not be strong enough, because as at that time, the government then had already picked seen workers as enemies. And we decided that, okay, if we are your enemy, we can't be your enemy. We also have opportunity of saying, let us have our own party. It was that party that we now brought us together with the party of Senator Rashid Ladoja then, and we had a discussion. In fact, that is when I tell people that meeting were about, the meeting was facilitated by Sharaf Ali, the current High Chief of Ibadan land, a senator, because he was our friend then, and may the soul of Musa Popola rest in peace. So that was our first meeting of when I met him for the first time. I personally and somebody had a bad experience about the government of Kolapo Shola.
Okay.
Because during that time there was an increment of salary, but in Oyo State, instead of giving us 47%, they reduced to 17%.
Oh.
So we already had an impression that this set of people, if they come back again, they will unleash more terror on us. So we now discussed with him in a private home. I can't forget that location now, in the house of Mr. Adibola.
Okay.
So it was there that we explained what we stand for, and it was there he told us detail of his dream. And after that, we went to our own meeting. We discussed him, and from what we discovered, we had a feeling that if this man could be governor of the state, he would take care of workers with his dream.
Why do you have
then workers, because I was representing Nigeria Labour Congress.
Okay.
Then, and you know, had this thing in the workers movement that when you talk of a worker, you talk of the population of the environment where you find yourself. Because the totality of Nigerian workers equals the totality of the citizen. So, and in the course of doing that, we had our own program. We discussed with them. We had an MOU that if you win election, this is what's going to happen.
Oh.
So, luckily for us, he won that election. When he won the election, the most surprising thing was that I never applied to be a special advisor to him. It was, I think, the second day after he appointed the secretary to government. I now have my name on radio.
Oh.
We were at NTA guest house that Idiakpe. You know, there used to be one NTA guest house at Idiakpe. That's why we are. When somebody now said, we have your name on radio, special advisor. I said, but it was a labor. Okay, I said, well, let us see. We now call an emergency meeting whether I should go and take up that appointment or not. We brought in our ally, the civil society movement, and with them, we agreed that, yeah, let us take the appointment so that we know what they do in government. From outside as labor people, if you continue to criticize them, what they do right inside government, let us know what they do. That was how I took the appointment. And before resuming, I had a memo. I wrote a paper about 37 pages. My vision as to the responsibility of a special advisor on labor. You believe it? The governor, when he got that paper, he read through, he signed it. He said, approved. That now became the working document. Became my Bible, Quran, as special advisor labor. So we are making references to all those points in those memo. And that is the beginning of our relationship as the governor, special advisor, governor, workers entirely, governor, and the state in its entirety. What is programs?
Okay, before all these, Honorable Bolumokwe, that meeting you spoke about preceded all this. How come you felt you could trust him at that time? Was it just a hunch?
No, it was not just. You see, you know, at that time, labor movement and the representative of workers' interests, we have an ideological position. For instance, if you say you are coming to run Oyo State, the first you want to see that, how do you create wealth? We already know the greatest problem with us in the state then was that all the player of labor, government will say they don't have money to pay full salary. We pass through that. We now say, how do we want to create money? The man said, I can't forget. He said, I am an employer of labor. Oh. I have then maybe around about 40,000 workers working for him on his farm, on his and he said he paid them this particular day. You can go and investigate. That was his first submission. The second one, we discover in Oyo State then, the violence is part and parcel of us. When I said, now how do you intend to undo the issue of I won't say because NURT members are part of us, then they are with us. They are part of labor. But say there is always crisis in town. He said, I will allow unions to operate as unions. You understand? And that is the union I talked about is the National Union of Transport Workers. Okay. They will say, okay, since this one will allow us to do our work instead of interfering in our work. Then he now said he had a dream. He said, I had a dream. I have gone far. I have seen. God has blessed me. I want to come and give back to my people. If I have this opportunity, God willing. You know, that's another strategic statement. Now, if you say, and we all know then, as at that time, from his profile that we read, we discovered that this man had, he was 1, a scholar, 2, an engineer, 3, a successful oil magnate, 4, we knew he had sheep, though we don't know the words of those peptides. But we know from our own record that this man belongs to the group of people who already have resources to sustain himself. The question now is, if you have that resources and you want to be governor, what are you looking for in government? He now said, I want to give back to the state what I have. The state that had paid me, I want to give back. That is why I'm looking for the position. Those are the things that made us agree to work together. Okay. And to the glory of God, for the period we were together in government, he did his best to give to the people of the state what he thought the state had given him.
Well, the signs and landmarks are still there. Well, let's talk about Ladoja and activism, and by extension, the Nadeko days, which we are.
That was another aspect that brought Ladoja closer to not just to the to labor movement, to the human rights society. You remember when you talk of Ladoja's activism, like I said the other time, those of us by the time this coup against June 12 came, I call it coup because PMQ Abiola had already won election, and the thing was truncated, and there was crisis on ground. And during that crisis, all of us remember now the June 12 crisis with the side effect. Now, we had, it was on record that the current Olubadan of Ibadan, inshallah, His Excellency Senator Rashid Ladoja, was a strong financier of Nadeko movement. Remember there was this radio coup d'etat. And a lot of people have made statements that are justified, pointed to that. Even our current president. Now, we saw him as one of us who already believe in our philosophy of the philosophy of labor movement and the philosophy of activism. So when I saw him as a person, now and I look at his past, I said, so this is the man that is bankrolling this struggle. So that was a background for human rights organizations, labor movement, to see him as a special person. But you know, it was not yet in government as at that time.
You know exactly my point, Comrade Bolomokwe. Many Nigerians ordinarily would see the new Oba, like you also said, as part of the capitalist culture, being a successful businessman and entrepreneur. Yet there was this rare blend with activism and the interest of the ordinary masses. So where do you think this came from for a man who ordinarily should be a beneficiary of the then military establishment, but chose the pro-democracy struggle? I think exile when his life was threatened.
Yes, I think that man, God created him for a purpose, I remember in my after the exit of the government, I wrote a thank you memo, and I qualified my as benevolent bourgeoisie.
Exactly.
Though is a bourgeois person.
Connection between the bourgeoisie and the activists.
But this is somebody that uses his wealth, his intellect, for the purpose of emancipating the poor masses. He has so many policies. Let me give you one of it. You see, as a labor person, the greatest problem we had then was how do we pay pension and gratuity? He inherited a lot of indebtedness. The man created an avenue, and that is the greatest. When I talk to people, I said, in government, what paid me most for the impeachment of Senator Rashid Ladoja was that the position paper he had on payment of pension and gratuity, they didn't allow him to actualize it. And what was that position? He already agreed that any worker that will be retiring in your state, after clearing bad log of arrears of pension, now say anybody that will be retiring in your state, 3 months of the time, statutory 3 months for leave, you must proceed on leave compulsorily. When it is about 2 weeks for you to leave, you come back to your place of work. The last day of you in your workplace, the gift government must give you, one is that your name for that month must appear on your pension list. 2, your gratuity check, you will take it and go with it. Look at that policy. But unfortunately, when that impeachment came, the thing became moribund. That is 1. 2, I remember, you see, like Babala Doja is a very kind man. He believes that society where you find yourself, the so-called, in quote, masses, governments must prepare them, teach them how to fish, not giving them fish. You now had this policy. When I was chairman of Nigeria Labour Congress, we already have a group called Council of Tradesmen and Artisans that brought all artisans together. For the first time in the history of that association, Governor Ladoja made special provision of 300 million naira as at that time for those associations. And most of that is why today you will see, if you go to market people, go to bread sellers, go to I remember the master bakers, they wanted to go on strike because there was no they said there was increase of the price of flour, and there was monopoly from flour mills, you know. And you remember late Adam Muslim also had a flour mill. Babala Diana said, come on, is it that only manufacturer that produces flour? Why don't you go and look for alternatives? And he approved 25 million naira for them to go and buy flour. With most of them, because of that 25 million naira, they resuscitated their bakeries. And I remember we have a plan for all groups, artisan groups, trade groups, for specific amount of money that they will have to give to their member, not in form of dash, that they will use to develop their trades, and that was why then there is no way you will see any group of artisan market women anywhere you see them, they are Ladoja up to today, because no government had surpassed that goodwill of Senator Rashid Ladoja as governor, now the Oluyole of Ibadan land.
Well, even as a governor, the activist element was still there, because here is a man who would not be cowed into becoming a subservient political godson, and he fought the conservative political establishment that tried to teleguide and manipulate him to an extent that cost him the governor's seat at some point. Now, the question here, what are your reservations and fears along this perspective as this same defender of the masses and questioner of the questionable political order sits on the all-encompassing throne of the Oluyole?
Let me tell you, the first thing You see Senator Rashid as governor now, a governor Oluyole. One, he believes in the power of the Constitution. He believes in justice and fairness.
Okay.
He's a very courageous man. He fears nobody except God. He's very godly. Now, if somebody fears no man except God, see his confrontation with then President Obasanjo and President Obasanjo's allies. Those of us that were, those of you who are, I have a lot of experiences, even as a trade union person, as an activist. I remember one day when they said Baba must not come to that central mosque at Ojaba for Jumat prayer. Yeah, well, I was with him in the government house. You know, how can you say this is an Ibadan man? He's the governor of the state. He's a Muslim. He wants to pray in the only known mosque in Ibadan. And you know what he said? He said, we are going there. I've told some people, without fear, he went and we came back. There are so many travail that Baba passed through. But because he believes in God, there are some I will not say here, because those people who believe in God says, if events that are past that will give you stress, don't mention them again. You know? But when you see him, you will see the humane nature in him. You are very close to him. He is very, very accountable in his activities.
Those travails you mentioned cost him a seat at a particular point in time when he was governor.
Yes,
he was
but you now see, that is why God is compensating him. I thank God for his life. That is why it is good as human being to know that there is no position you occupy that you occupy for life. You will leave that position, history will judge you. What is happening to the Oluyole of Ibadan land today? It's not just because he wants to be Oluyole. Is it going to be the first Oluyole? It's not just because he was a former governor. He was a former governor that loves the people and the people loves him. Therefore, that is why you are saying what you are saying. God is rewarding him for his kindness to the people of the state. I remember when we were government, you know something, it was this same business when they were campaigning, and he came and they said, Ebony, this is pure water. You sell it pure water. You didn't remember that episode?
I do.
Look at that development. When he got to power, he resuscitated pipe-borne water in Ibadan here and part of the states. What is happening today? Where are those pipe-borne waters? Did you see any one of them flowing from the tap? Okay. Now, after that, he now said, we must remove all these impediments to people sleeping well in their homes. I remember he gave me an assignment that I did. In this same Ibadan, he said, SLA, all these are our boys that disturb people in the streets. What can we do for them? I said, let's bring them together. Let's talk to them. Let us train them. And he agreed. I remember the commissioner for staff then, Mrs. Adesoya. When we brought about 34 or 35 of them to this same governor's office, the conference room, all those people that you call them miracles now, or you call them woodlums, or you call them whatever you call them, but you know they're also human beings. You won't believe that story. When they sat, within 5 minutes, they slept off. Ladoja provided money for them for snacks and transport money. You know the outcome of that is that when they now came back and their senses came to them, they now agreed that some of them, you won't believe it, because of your driver license, that was why that kind of good, we agreed to give them driver license. Some of them were mop up into learning trades. Today, I know one, I won't mention his name. Their job, because he was frustrated for the political Ibadan, he now decided to say he want to be rearing cow. And we gave him just 2 male, 2 female and 1 male cow. Today, he's a very rich man. That was Ladoja for you. Now, go to any sector, go to education. May the soul of my friend, Dr. Amoloye, rest in peace. I remember that school at Monoto High School, that model school. Ladoja established brick industry, if you remember.
Red brick.
And he experimented with that brick industry established at Egbeda local government. They used that big industry to build us. We believe that once they produce the brick, they will build more of that model school across the state. That's not better for you. You remember the asphalt plant at Sijaye. Ladoja came with the impression that, okay, when we produce asphalt, local governments, you must construct good roads from that location. Not that it's spending on their behalf. If you are to, if you are producing, we are constructing 10 kilometers of road in 6 months, we have asphalt that will supply you. That was Ladoja. You remember I remember the tractor company that are not going to Kaduna or Kano. You still remember?
Yeah, Mahindra. Yeah.
That was at
Oluyole.
The dream of the governor then was that, okay, if you have this tractor, in fact, he gave to some farmers. You remember the cassava industry, the gari producing industry, starch producing industry. He went as far as in agriculture at Obomosho that they should have mango juice factory. Now, these are visions that, if not for, but without God for his life, is alive. As not just alive, is alive happily. And those of us that are very close to him, we appreciate that God is giving him this opportunity. I remember one day, during that struggle, he made a statement that he said, comrade, as a labor, what we are doing is for the people. We want to live for the people. If it is what we are going to eat, I already have enough amalante. But that is not it. It is these people. How do we assist them? We will do it. You know, that is the determination of being a successful person.
Oluyole, I'm taking you up on these things because you are a politician yourself, and you've traveled on the same political boats with Oba Ladoja, especially in the vibrant days of the Accord Party.
Yes.
Now, it must be sad that many of the big names in Nigerian politics coming to pay homage as we speak, even ahead of the coronation. They are not just coming for the sake of it. 2027 is around the corner, and many would probably want the subtle endorsement of a powerful and very politically influential Olubadan for their national ambitions and party interest in this part of the country. So my question here is, so where should the line be drawn between political preferences and loyalties and allegiance to the generality of the people, since the Olubadan is father of all?
Let me tell you, you see, politics belongs to everybody. Whether the Olubadan, whether the bishop of a church or the imam, all human beings are politicians. But one thing that God had done for my leader and the governor, our father, is that God, what he wanted to do for the late Baba Adedubu, God is doing it for him now. I remember he said in the peak of the relationship, he said we are going to institutionalize Baba Adedubu's philosophy, because his type of politics. He said if he can, you see, he said his colleagues, if send in the university of those professor of politics, he want them to come up with and adapt. Now say this is Adedubuism. Okay. But that is, if you want to do that for somebody, though he did not achieve it, That's what God done for you now. Whether you like it or you don't like it. Today in Oyo State, Papa, Kabesiwa, Oluyole of Ibadan land is the center of gravity, whether you call it politics, social, economy, security, he is. Therefore, if you now say all politicians are coming, you don't be deceived. Politicians are friends. Okay. Nigeria context. Ideological politics is too distant from us in our terrain. Therefore, if you emerge as a center, at the center of gravity, that people know this person, his words becomes action. Politicians want to succeed, want to be very close to you. So with the position of Akokubai, he had become the head of all. If you want to succeed as a politician in Oyo State, you must not toy with Senator Kabesi, Oluyole of Ibadan land, His Excellency Rashidi Adiwolu Ladoja, because he has the people's support. And in politics, it is the people. In democracy, it is the people. It is not all the time money. It's not all the time money. But Baba Ladoja, God has blessed him to the level that he now has the people around him. From, you are a journalist. From the history of Ibadan, I don't know, maybe proud, I don't know what happened when Oluyole was to become the Obale, the Oba of Ibadan. But I've never witnessed any coronation of Oluyole that is people's coronation like this. You go to any street, you will see different locations organizing different form of party. You will see what will happen in Ibadan tomorrow. They have turned into carnival. See what happened today. A lot of people are on the street celebrating him. Wow. You know, which means God is with him. So for politics, his ideals, his philosophy have become a reference point for anybody who wants to be a successful politician, either in Oyo State, even in Nigeria. Mr. President is coming. The president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yeah, some are also saying that's politics soon.
It is politics, but it's not just politics. I know. You see, this Yoruba that we are having is a friend to all. In activism is a friend to, is a partner to President Tinubu. If we talk of Atiku, they are friends. Talk of any non big man in politics in Nigeria, they are closer to Baba Ladoja than those of you feel you belong to the same family, right? Now look at Obi. He was his colleague governor, right? Abi, I think no. I don't think they are colleague governors.
No.
They are not colleague governors. But there is no way Obi will now say Senator Rashidi Ladoja, the Oluyole of Ibadan land, former governor. The concept former governor. How many Oluyole have gotten that title before? We were lucky before. We had Senator Governor, Senator Oluyole. We never had Governor Oluyole.
The program is still Searchlight on Oluyole 98.5 FM, and we are discussing the topic about Ladoja and the throne of Ibadan land. My guest, an eminent indigenous of Ibadan land and close political associate and political son of Oba Ladoja in their court party days. Well, he's now currently a chieftain of the APC, and my guest also served the Ladoja administration in Oyo State as special advisor on labor. A lawmaker, former lawmaker representing the Gbeda State constituency in the State House of Assembly, and also a former chairman Oyo State Council of the NLC, Honorable Ibrahim Bolomokwe. To be part of Searchlight this afternoon, we welcome your questions and your contribution. Numbers to call 070-5555-1985, 070-5555-1985, and you can also try with the studio on 080 08055009850. Again, 08055009850. Honorable Omokwe, I want to ask them this question. Why do teachers love Obaladoja so much? You are a former teacher yourself, and you are also
you see, that is an area they are moving into again. Let me tell you, teachers will continue to love Ladoja.
Even as we speak.
And as I'm talking now, because it will be very difficult for any governor to beat Senator Rashid Adewolu's government in Oyo State in terms of relationship with teachers. Let me tell you, number one, when he came, he discovered that population of pupils in classes were too many. He decided to create schools. If you have 900 students in a school, it becomes a school of its own. Many teachers were promoted into positions of principals and vice principals. If I continue to use Senator Ladoja, when he came as governor, he increased teachers' car loan and housing allowances. He recruited, I remember, teachers, especially in the sciences. He became very close to teachers. If you are doing any program, you will see Senator Rashid Ladoja's hand in it. Anything you are doing, even when you do World Teachers Day, he became a friend to teachers. The one thing about the governor then, which I still believe is doing, I have all this number, the telephone number on head. There is no way you call Senator Rashid Ladoja as a principal, as a citizen of yours, he will pick your call. In most cases, teachers have direct call to him on issues that affect their schools, and he will respond immediately. Oh. Let me give you an instance. With the soul of Dr. Oluyole, rest in peace. There was a school at Yemetu, a primary school. That school collapsed. A part of it collapsed. One of the headmistresses in that school called the governor, Senator Rashid Ladoja. Senator Ladoja called Oluyole. By the time I got the information, I called Oluyole. He said, Oga had called me. Let us meet at the school. That school is opposite that Methodist St. Paul's hall. Not the church. No, they have one hall up here like this. When I got there, Oluyole stood there till they brought out the collapsed building and they replaced it. Yeah. You think teachers in those schools would not like Ladoja? Ladoja supports teachers' cooperative movement. It became very easy for any teacher cooperator. If you are paying back to the source where you took the money, it is with ease. And most importantly, Ladoja never abused any teacher on radio or anywhere. Unlike some people, what they always say about teachers is that teachers do what are they doing? He will always tell us teachers are best managers. If they do well, the society will be better off. So teachers became his friends. So many things. More importantly, he appointed a teacher as a special advisor on labor, and he gave me all the opportunities to put in the best I have. I remember all this I'm saying publicly. Some commissioner would have done now. I remember there was a time when if the government is very busy and I have files, I can take almost about 8 files along. Once I enter, because on radio, once I got his approval, I would say the governor said this. That day that he embarrassed me was I was there with 5 different files, and they said, "Hey, Eselebo, what do I do for you?" Yeah, okay, I want you to look at this file, and he just took the file. were looking at my face like you were looking at my face. There are commissioners there who just like, Papa, Papa, and they signed all the files same time. When I go back to, now I have my own kokosu. I have some labor people that are very close to me. I say, this is what the government do for him, and I want to go and check the record. For the period St. Lambda was governor of Oyo State, there was no single day strike. No single 1 day strike. You know what that means?
What do you think of Obaladoja's play to teach mathematics and chemistry at Ibadan Boys High School, even as Olubadu?
Yes, he wants to lay a good example. You want to tell people that the position you have does not take your contribution to your state. When we teach government in those days in schools, you say there are three congruent part of citizens. They say right. Your right as a citizen. Your duty as a citizen. Your obligation. Now, if the Olubadan, the former governor, decide to teach chemistry in school, tell me if you are appointed as commissioner for education, will you just sit in the office? You will not. I remember there have been opportunities like that when the NUT had made that move to some people. Allow these people to come to school and teach. They said no. If they come to teach, they will be playing politics with it. I want to see that person that will now tell Senator the Olubadan of Ibadan that they want to play with when it's imparting knowledge. You now see the bandwagon effect of that. That a lot of people that are sitting down in their houses, they're supposed to do voluntarism. That I've been preaching this all along. Most civil servants, public servants, we only take from government what we are having outside government is minimal. If I ask you now as a journalist, apart from the work you are doing that is very well, do you do any other work outside this field that the community is feeling? Your impact? How many people are doing that?
Let's take this call. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
And I agree program and my daddy that is on the program.
Okay.
My name is Comrade Oluyole,
Okay.
former NGT chairman for the program. And then currently I'm saying this. Oye náà kò lè wá.
Odi koro. Oye náà
kò lè wá.
God bless you.
Comrade cannot say everything. Among the people that benefited in 2005.
You see now.
That Obaladoja. Not only that. What I can say that God has answered the prayer of everybody living in Ibadan. Ibadan State, I can see to be the next thing that will celebrate after his
Amen.
And somebody go to everywhere. In short, I look at it historically. Right from over 30 years, when in Yoruba land, Western region, what is happening now in Ibadan? Before the record for the coronation. Yes, a good example. Somebody that is ready to serve the public. Despite the fact that corruption has become endemic in the nation. Why did they remove Baba as governor? Because somebody that believes that everybody must be well taken. I cannot say that because time is now our prayer.
Yes, thank you.
This is the song of Comrade Ojedino, your good friend.
God bless you. Let me add one contribution of American that as he was talking. I remember most governors are now paying 30 months salary. You remember?
Yeah.
When that thing was to come, it was towards Christmas period. And Baba, we are pushing that he said most people get something for Christmas, New Year. Can we have an opportunity of buying 2 cups of rice and give to if you know what Oga did? He just said, no, let's convert that to money. And that was the first time workers have 13 months salary.
All right, we could go on and on, but time is not our friend, and we have to go. It's the satellite on Oluyole 98.5 FM, and we've been discussing Oba Ladoja and the throne of Ibadan land. And my guest has been, he's a close political associate and political son of Oba Ladoja, an eminent indigenous of Ibadan land, former special advisor on labor matters, and a lawmaker. Former lawmaker representing Egbeda State constituency. He is also former NLC chairman. My guest has been Honorable Ibrahim Bolomokwe. Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you very much. I pray and I wish everybody should pray for Kabesi to live long on the throne.
Amen.
For God to bless him and for God to make him achieve all his dream.
Amen.
God bless you.
All right, next week is another time, next week Thursday, and then we'll be coming with another topical issue. Till then, my name is Tola Teriba, your host. Bye-bye.
It's the 5